It begins on a motorcycle. A man and his son ride across the American West wind, silence, asphalt. But this isn't just a road trip. It's a search for meaning. A journey not just through space, but through the fractured landscape of the mind. In Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, Robert Pirsig takes us on a ride through mountains and memory, philosophy and pain, logic and intuition. It's about motorcycles, but it's also not. It's about quality, a word you can't quite define, but you know when you feel it. It's about the clash between romantic and classical thinking. And it's about one man's attempt to stitch his identity back together before it falls apart again. This is not a book to consume. It's a book to wrestle with. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Journey and the Ghost of Phaedrus. The narrator rides with his son, Chris. The road is real, but so is the ghost riding with them, Phaedrus, a name he gives to his former self. Phaedrus was brilliant, logical, a professor obsessed with ideas. But he chased truth too far and lost himself to madness. Now, the narrator is a different man, or so he hopes. But Phaedrus lingers in his thoughts, in Chris's questions, in the quiet spaces between gas stations and motel rooms. The journey is outward and inward. Because sometimes, to heal the present, we must revisit the mind we once were. Chapter 2. Classic V's. Romantic understanding. Pirsig draws a powerful distinction. Classic understanding is analytical. It sees the world in terms of structure, function, logic. Romantic understanding is aesthetic. It feels the world as beauty, emotion, presence. Think of a motorcycle. The romantic sees its sleek shape, the hum of the engine, the thrill of the ride. The classic sees torque, combustion, maintenance, form. Most people live in one or the other. But true peace, Pirsig suggests, lies in integrating both. Because a life lived only in logic is cold. And a life lived only in feeling is fragile. Quality, the thing we're all searching for, is what unites the two. Chapter 3. What is quality? Quality is the book's central theme and its greatest mystery. It's not just excellence, not just usefulness, not beauty alone. Pirsig says, quality is the point at which subject and object meet. It's the moment of recognition, when something feels right before we even know why. A perfectly tuned engine. A well-crafted sentence. A good meal. A moment of insight. We know it. We feel it. But we struggle to define it. And that's the problem. Our culture wants everything defined, categorized, measured. But quality slips through those fingers. It resists capture because it lies at the edge of rational understanding. Chapter 4. The Knife of Rationality. Pirsig criticizes what he calls the knife of rational thought. We divide everything to understand it. Science into fields. Language into terms. Experience into causes and effects. But this knife, if used too much, cuts reality into lifeless fragments. And so we start living not in the world but in concepts about the world. Motorcycle maintenance becomes a metaphor. When you see the machine only as a set of parts, you forget the wholeness. When you only see its beauty, you risk not understanding how it works. Real understanding means working with both mindsets. To be grounded in form and elevated by feeling. Chapter 5. The Church of Reason and the System of Education. Pirsig attacks modern education not out of hate but heartbreak. He says schools have become factories of rational detachment. They kill curiosity in favor of conformity. They prioritize grades over genuine inquiry. Pirsig tells the story of teaching freshmen writing. His students couldn't write not because they were lazy, but because they'd been trained to fear originality. He challenged them. Write about a building, too vague. Write about the front of a building, still blocked. Write about one brick, and finally they found flow. Creativity, he says, emerges not from wide options but deep attention. Chapter 6. The Breakdown and the Climb. The narrator and Chris face hardships, bad weather, silence, frustration. The road trip begins to mirror the internal struggle. Memories of Phaedrus grow louder. The boundaries blur. The motorcycle needs fixing. The relationship with Chris frays. The narrator's mind drifts toward collapse. This is no longer a ride. It's a pilgrimage to confront the ghost. To integrate what was lost. Because healing doesn't mean forgetting who we were. It means learning to live with all parts of ourselves, including the broken ones. Chapter 7. The Metaphysics of Quality. Pirsig proposes a bold idea. Quality is not a property, it is the origin. Before subject and object, before thought and emotion, there is quality. It's the spark of life, the sense of rightness that precedes language. Zen Buddhism calls this beginner's mind a fresh, open way of seeing. The West calls it insight, flow, intuition. But all of it points to the same truth. Reality is not best divided, but experienced as a whole. And the greatest tool we have to reconnect to that wholeness is attention. Chapter 8. Father and Son, Mind and Heart. The journey ends where it began with the narrator and his son. But something has shifted. Chris has questions. He wants connection. He senses the fracture in his father, but also the desire to mend it. Their relationship becomes the final metaphor. Because just as logic and beauty must integrate, so too must father and son. Healing comes not from erasing the past, but from riding forward together. Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance isn't a manual. It's a mirror. It reflects how we think, how we divide the world, how we ignore the parts of ourselves we can't explain, and how we lose touch with quality, the living thread that connects all things. So ask yourself, where have you overused the knife of rationality? Where have you avoided the precision of logic because you feared it would kill beauty? Where can you reunite analysis and intuition, head and heart? If this resonated, subscribe to Real Deep Understanding. Because here, we don't just seek answers. We ride with the questions until they bring us somewhere deeper. Like this video if you've ever felt caught between thinking and feeling. Comment, what does quality mean to you and where have you felt it lately? Share this with someone who thinks too much or feels too much and needs to know it's okay to do both. You are not just a mind, not just a heart. You are the intersection. And riding well means embracing the whole machine.